Welcome back to another video in the garage here. Thursday afternoon, and we're working on Colton's 2006 F250 6.0 liter Powerstroke, and we're doing inner axle seals. We've already got the seals installed. I want to show you guys what all we have done. So to do inner axle seals, you have to pull the brakes off, wheel bearings, axle shafts out, carrier has to come out, and then the inner seals are drove in from the inside. My buddy had a custom tool that I was able to borrow. That's what we use to drive those in. And we got those drove in. We also did a new axle shaft U-joint on this side. It is bad. And then we did new style updated dust shields. These also act as a guide to get the axle shaft installed. So these are the new style dust shields, new axle shaft U-joint, and new vacuum seals as well. So we are going to put the wheel bearings back in and install some new brake pads and get this thing driving. Wrapping up the end of my day here. Obviously we only worked on this thing this afternoon because I was doing other stuff this morning, but we got the differential all put back together, axle seals done, dust shields done, and we figured out that the sliders on the brake caliper bracket were stuck. So that definitely explains why it was pulling to the right. I thought it maybe was the fluid that was getting over on this side was causing it, but it was obviously the caliper bracket was stuck. The caliper wasn't applying any pressure to the rotor, so that was an issue. And then also the lockout. The lockout on the passenger side was stuck in. It was locked in the on position, so it was constantly spinning that passenger side axle shaft. So the spring, or the little snap ring, came out of it, and it's basically just stuck in the lock position. Tried to get it apart to fix it, but I can't, so I had to get a new one. This one, you guys can see how it functions fine. Spins freely, lock it in, and then it locks the whole axle and everything. And then these are actually the automatic locking hubs, so there's a gasket behind that. It's vacuum operated, and it will push the truck hubs to lock it into four-wheel drive through vacuum. But anyways, we're gonna have to get a new lockout. Should be here tomorrow. New caliper bracket. It is now following week again, and before we get started on doing a diag on this little car, it's a 2013 Chevy Spark. I do want to go ahead and throw in Top Don sent us this little battery charger. It's a TB8000 battery charger, battery maintainer, and battery reconditioner. And I was using it already on some of the jet skis that we got, and it's working good. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Appreciate Top Don for sending us one of those to try out, and we're getting this battery here charged up, reconditioned, and then we're going to start running some diagnostics on this thing. It's got a cylinder 4 is low on compression, I believe. That's what he said. So he tested the compression, it was low on 4. I'm going to run the codes just real quick to see what it says, and then I'll probably see if we can pull the valve cover off on it and see if we can see if anything's damaged, like a worn lobe. We may drain the oil out of it, look at the oil, but I think we're going to find either an issue in the cylinder head, probably. So that is where we're at, guys. Just figured I would give you an update. The thing with these engines, from what I've been researching, is the PCV valve will fail, and it'll put a ton of oil into cylinder number 4 and initially burn up the valves. You're gonna have to put a head on it, basically. So we're in the VIN. There you can see the recall. Hasn't been completed, so it never had the recall done. That's likely what burned the head up on this thing. So I'm gonna see if I can locate a head for it and get a quote together for the customer. And I may tear it down a little bit more, guys, but it's a pretty common issue with these things, so I'm willing to take the gamble that putting a head on it is gonna fix it. So, all right, guys, we've spent the morning tearing apart the Chevy Spark. Got the nice little baby head gasket with the baby pistons. The engine in my jet ski is literally just as big as this. But basically, guys, we had to take the oil pan off the bottom of the engine, timing cover, timing chains, and then we got the head set over here. I'll try to see if, can one of you guys tilt this head back so I can show them? Just kind of tilt it on its side. And we figured it was going to be excessive oil and carbon on the valves, but it actually has a broken valve right there, you can see. So this thing will need a valve job and a resurface, and we'll put it all back together. But that's basically where we're at. We got to get the head stripped, cleaned up, and go to the machine shop and go all back together with this thing. And that should take care of our issue. We had low compression on cylinder 4, and that's definitely why. And Zach, we're about to pull his car in, and I don't know why he wants to do this, but we're gonna straight pipe his Chevy Malibu. So I don't know why you want to do that, but we're gonna do it. All right, guys, we got Zach's exhaust all fixed up on his car. It's sick nasty. Give her a good rev. All right, guys, and to finish off this afternoon, I'm working on this Chevy Express van, and throwing the wheel back on it right now. We had to put a wheel seal in it. Bailey's throwing that back on, and we are gonna get it returned back to the customer. What's up, guys? It is now Thursday morning, and we are going to be probably pulling a transmission on that Fortune out there, 68 truck, and sounds like it's got a broken flex plate. Definitely had to change them before due to this matter, so I'm gonna start it up, nose it in here in the garage, and we just wanna verify as much as we can that that's where we're gonna find our issue before we tear it apart. Doesn't sound like it's in the motor. Sounds like it's flex plate. It's intermittent, comes and goes, and I think that's where we're gonna find our issue. But worst case scenario, if we did get the trans out and the flex plate looked fine, we would know that it's probably something in the engine, but we would already have the trans out, so it would make pulling the engine a lot easier. I don't think that's what we're gonna be dealing with today, guys, but I am just trying to take necessary precautions to get this thing taken care of. So let's run out here and get this truck fired up, and we will see what exactly we got going on once we get pulled here in the shop. So this is Brandon McIntyre's truck. It's either 10 through 12, I don't know what year it is, mega cab, 3500. It's a 10 truck. So let's fire it up. It's got 258,000 miles. Wow, he's really tall. I gotta scoot the seat up. Go ahead and get this thing warming up here. All right, guys. So here is the sound. Alright, guys, well, we got the trans pulled out of this 10 mega cab, and we found out what our noise was. Bailey's been cleaning up the converter, cleaning up these surfaces, and also running a tap through these holes. But basically what happened was the converter bolts last time they were installed were not tightened properly, so it's wallered these holes out and also kind of machined. You can see there's like a lot of metal deposits around the corners where the converter was loose chattering. So the flex plate is trashed. We're gonna get new billet flex plate for it and clean the converter up. It'll be fine. Just gonna run a tap through it, clean this surface up, and then obviously we're gonna upgrade to a Suncoast flex plate, and you have to use blue Loctite on these converter bolts. They didn't use blue Loctite. Most of them were basically hand tight per se. So that was the problem, but unfortunately, in the process of it rattling around, running, it ate the flex plate up. So we'll have to do an flex plate, and we're also gonna do a service on the trans, and we'll go back together. All right, guys, now that we're gonna be waiting on parts for this truck to put it back together, we are about to run the cylinder head up to the machine shop so they can they're gonna probably do a valve job and put one new valve in. I don't know if I showed you guys that yet already, but the cylinder 4 valve is missing a chunk out of it right there, you can see. So they'll probably go through and grind them all and maybe resurface it, and we'll go back together with this guy too. Probably be the beginning of next week, but I want to get this dropped off today so they can get started on it. I am going to go ahead and wrap up the end of this video. We got a lot done. This video is really spread out, and that's how I want to keep these videos. And eventually I want to grow this channel big enough and the shop big enough to where we can have a videographer full-time doing this basically recording the work and the day-to-day process and how all this is going. But if any of you guys are in the central Indiana or surrounding states, we have people travel from all over states to have us work on their vehicles. Please feel free to do so by sending me a DM on Instagram, Dirty Diamond Diesel. If you don't have an Instagram, you can email us, dirtydiamonddiesel@yahoo.com. We'd be more than happy to help you guys with your truck and get it back on the road, or whatever performance bolt-ons, etc., that you guys would want. So we do appreciate each and every one of you guys for supporting the channel. And if you guys need any help on your truck, be sure to hit us up, like I said, on Instagram or in the emails. But for now, see you guys on the next one.